What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. 1/3 of the New Day. You're not going to say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
I'm the EST of the PopC. I'm Jem.
I love that one. This is our Raw in Review, and it comes at you every Thursday morning on your podcast services. That's 8 a.m., 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/groups/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all those links are in the down below area. If you want to join the conversation as it happens, however, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch Jem and I record this show as it happens, as well as our other show for the players, the PopC PlayStation podcast. One thing we'd like you to do is like you to share the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling show. Maybe they need a little bit of wrestling in this fucked up time. All right, let's put it out there. It's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But if you were ever so inclined, you could also support us financially. Patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other sort of shit with our logos on it. Jem, how are you? This, now I've come to learn, is a Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, shit's crazy, so it's really hard to differentiate between which day's which. But especially with you having Monday off too.
So I had Monday off and I worked from home today. So I'm like a whole bunch of messed up. I got no idea what's going on.
There you go. Well, no, I'm good. Tomorrow I will be enrolling in a pathology course and I will be learning how to do bloods, which is super exciting. So it's a primarily study online type course with later down the track I'll be doing like field work. But yeah, no, I'm super hyped. I'm really excited for that. Other than that, I'm just plodding along. How about you?
I'm just hearing a bunch of noises in my ear holes. For those that may not hear it on the podcast version, there are sound effects that come through my ear holes when cool things happen on Twitch. And right now, we've had Dad Bod Players giving us a host, and Benny A Bit has given us his Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, Benny.
Thank you
very,
so much.
very much.
Love it.
But no, I've been well, man. I've been well.
Nice.
I've been and more noises in my ear holes. Max has also resubscribed with his Prime sub for a 6 month. Thank you very much. You very lovely gentleman.
Thank you so
much appreciated. But yeah, I'm well. I work from home today, so I kind of just I did my job from where I'm sitting right now, which was weird. Got up and had because I didn't do my walk from my car to work. I got up and did a half-hour wander around the estate.
So did I.
Yep. So then just chilling, man. I'm getting
Good.
ever so closer to 10K. 10 kilos gone, man.
That's so exciting.
This fucking close. I'm
You
this
can
close.
see it in your face.
I
too. You're
reckon.
looking
I reckon I'll be
So
there
good.
in like 2 days. Not even.
Yeah, no, you're looking really good. That photo you posted recently, your face, you can just see it, especially in your jawline.
That's right.
You're looking awesome.
That's right. See, now I went from unattractive to slightly unattractive. That's right.
No.
It's improving. I'm getting closer. Getting closer. But anyway, let's get in the show that we're here to talk about, and that is Monday Night Raw, Jem. And this isn't any Monday Night Raw. This is the Raw after WrestleMania. This is where cool shit is supposed to happen. Now,
Rawslemania.
what?
Rawslemania.
Rawslemania. Oh, I like Rawslemania. So it's supposed to be Rawslemania. Things are supposed to happen, but with the current Voldemort virus, things have been as restricted as ever. So we didn't get the usual big, massive event after WrestleMania, but some things did happen. Jem, I forgot where I put my phone. Oh, there it is.
Well,
all right, you can kick it off while I pull up the shit.
yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, the show opened with one half of the Kabuki Warriors, Miss Asuka,
That's right.
making her way to the ring. She was in competition against Liv Morgan, which I was not expecting, but I was very pleasantly surprised.
Very much so. It was a weird sort of throw together match to kick off the card, which is fine.
Yeah.
I love what you've written here in the notes here, Jem. I don't know what, but I'm about it. I don't know what brought this together, but I'm into it.
Don't know what put it together, but give it to me, because I absolutely adore both Asuka and Liv Morgan, and taking them in a match together, and a hell of a match at that. I was really excited. It was really cool. Like, quick, sort of like a quicker match. It was a bit more. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
I really enjoyed it.
There was a big change to normal Raws this week. So rather than having it full with like, an hour and a half of some pay-per-view, some other way, like these were all matches that were done in the venue. So there was 4 matches in total, which is
no recap, no WrestleMania match videos or anything like that.
None of that old stuff, which is really rad. So this is a good match to kick things off.
Definitely.
I don't know where this is going. I don't see that there's much of a future in this, but it was still good to see nonetheless, which I really
exactly. Yeah. Asuka did pick up the win after having to battle to get Liv Morgan into the Asuka lock. Liv Morgan did eventually tap out. But no, it was a good little match. Like, there was a lot of really good back and forth and stuff there. So it was really, really good way to start the show. Yeah,
not too bad. Moving on. Let's see. This took up a big hunk of the show. So let's get this out of the way now. So even though we were told no automatic rematches, Jem, they aren't happening. No automatic rematches. Guess what? Automatic rematch.
Can you tell it hurts?
Street Profits versus Austin Theory and Angel Garza. Because if you thought that they weren't going to win at WrestleMania, by God, do you think they're not going to win at the Raw after WrestleMania?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But what can you do? It started as a standard little match. Where eventually good match, really good match, lots of fast paced, really good stuff going on. Man, Montez Ford can fly.
He's awesome.
That guy gets some damn height. He's so much fun. So what happens is Zelina Vega does get involved and she gets busted, causing a DQ. So she, Garza and Theory decide to attack Street Profits. Bianca Belair comes out, and she obviously Zelina Vega goes for it, and she just picks her up like a feather and just drops her hard on her ass. And she drops a sick promo, and she's like, I was the EST of NXT, but now I'm the EST of WWE.
Sorry, I'm the biggest, I'm the strongest, I'm the fastest, I'm the bestest. She didn't say bestest, but what she did.
Yeah. And basically she's like, you can't outrun me, so why don't you just get your ass in this ring and we'll do something about it. So we go to an ad break.
Then went from a tag team match to a singles match.
Yep, singles women match.
Yep.
And then, involvement with, I believe it was Austin Theory. And that causes the Street Profits to get involved. Before that, there was a little bit where Montez Ford grabbed the camera and was shaking it, and I just think it's the funniest thing when he grabs the camera.
And Benny in the chat, she goes, didn't she say I go here now? Yep, she did say I go here now, which means, as we predicted yesterday, 100% call up. Bianca Belair is now on the main roster, or it's called the main roster now on Raw.
She's on Raw.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So as mentioned, there was some involvement on the singles match, which then became a 6-man tag match with all of them, just everyone in. Yeah.
Which was absolutely awesome. Again, another really good match. I think the highlight again for me was Zelina Vega and Bianca Belair. Those two together, phenomenal. They were absolutely kicking each other's ass. And it did end up ending in a KOD from Bianca Belair to Zelina Vega for the win, which was awesome. And then obviously Street Profits and Belair had a bit of a bit of a thing. One thing I did love is that Montez Ford didn't skate around anything. He's like, I got my wifey here, I got my brother here, there's 3 of us, there's 3 of you, why don't we make this a family affair?
Yeah, and commentary were very, very eager on, mentioning that they were married, which is cool. It wasn't used badly anyway.
Nah, it was super cute.
In the chat, we've got Dad Bob Plays asking if the comment "I go here now" was a nod to Mean Girls. Like, she doesn't even go here. I fucking hope so, because I love that movie.
Yeah, most likely. I love that.
To the End of the Earth. I love that film. That film is so dope. That's brilliant. Benny goes, Austin Theory getting a hell of a push. Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
From someone that was on NXT doing a whole not a lot to having a WrestleMania match and 2 title shots.
Yeah.
Like, he's losing hard, but...
Yeah, but still, like, exactly it. It's more than others can say, so... Definitely really cool to see. But no, this was a really cool setup, and it did take up a lot of the show, but it was worth it because it wasn't the same old thing. Like, they really mixed it up well. And initially I was like, this is a bit shit. But as the competition progressed, I was like, this is better.
I enjoyed it.
I was happy with it.
Very excited to see what Bianca Belair can do for the women's roster. Speaking of women's roster, though, I don't know how Belair would go against the likes of Nia Jax, however. Now, my theory coming into WrestleMania is that we would see her get involved in the SmackDown title picture with Tamina. However, that wasn't the case. Instead, it was no surprise return. It was just, hey, Nia Jax is here, man.
Yeah, which was awesome. Obviously, it's been 12 months since we last saw her. Straight after WrestleMania, she did have an emergency double meniscus surgery.
Yeah, she fucked both her knees. Both knees were jacked.
Yeah, and it's not the first time. This is the second time she's had this surgery as well. So, yeah, obviously a bit more recovery time going through old scar tissue and stuff like that. But no, performed outstandingly.
She had a match against Deonna Purrazzo, another NXT person. Now, you've mentioned the notes here. Is this her getting a call up because we've seen her a lot? No, I think she's just nearby.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think
I was questioning it just because we have seen Deonna a few times. And I was like, is Deonna getting a call up? And apparently that's not the case.
I wouldn't, from looking at what's happening, I don't think that's the case. I think she just comes in, takes a bus and then goes back.
Better than having a jobber.
It's one of those things like it's one of those things like, hey, look, if you want some money, do you want to come get your ass handed to you? Like, all right, sure.
Exactly it.
Because it's one of those things nothing against NXT guys. It's just that situation of them having to come and face these much more seasoned competitors.
And that's all it is. It just comes down to how seasoned they are. Obviously, the NXT superstars are more fresh than the Raw and SmackDown superstars are. So it just comes down to that experience. It's nothing bad against them. And it doesn't mean they're shit because they're getting, I guess, squashed, if you will. It's them being able to prove that they can do it on the big stage, as well as, proving that NXT is one of the there's 3 brands. It's proving that NXT can play with big kids.
Now, Benny in the chat mentions that Nia Jax also did the Rampage, her finisher.
Yes, I was about to mention that because there was a lot of outcry and people were complaining about that. Because apparently it's Paige's finisher. But Paige was like, Nia asked me, I said yes.
Well, I don't understand
stunner.
Exactly. That was my exact example. Like, I don't know why it's an issue when Kevin Owens started doing some things, doing stunners, no one had an issue. Yet Nia Jax, everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, she's been gone for a year and she still has heat. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's definitely a good bad guy.
Yeah, 100%.
she plays it well.
But it is one of those things that you don't use someone's finisher without permission. Like, that's it'd be one of those big secret rules. So there is no way that Nia would have done it without consent. And then Paige did come out on socials and confirm that she had given her consent for the Rampage. But Jem, in terms of Nia Jax returning, how do you feel about her returning to Raw of all places?
I love it. I think Raw needs it. I think, if anybody could possibly take out Becky Lynch at this point, I think it could be Nia.
Yeah. Because if we have a look at SmackDown in terms of the SmackDown's women's roster, we pretty much saw the entire extent of it on WrestleMania this year. with Naomi
Yes.
and also all the big players are there, and they have the tag teams as well, like Mandy and whatever. But they're they're pretty stacked over there. And if you come over to Raw and then you see, who do we see? The Kabuki Warriors. Where's Carmella these days?
Carmella's SmackDown.
Yeah.
You've got like Becky Lynch.
Charlotte's now moved down.
Yep, Charlotte's gone to NXT. People are just sort of leaving. So they definitely need it at the moment. I think it's more beneficial. I mean, we've got the Riot Squad there. Well, formerly the Riot Squad, Logan, Riot, and Morgan. But we're not seeing much of them. So I think it's awesome to have her coming back. I think she's needed on the Red brand. I think the Red brand needs her. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I reckon she's probably going to be next in line for that championship shot against Becky.
I think certainly on the path too.
Yeah.
Buddy in the chat mentions Nia has heat because she injures people and is unsafe. Oh yeah, very much so. Before
but having a year away.
Yeah, but
that's
right. Before she did go away, you and I have had very extensive arguments about our issues with Nia Jax.
Yes.
And her returning this week certainly doesn't forgive all the other times that she's just fucking jacked up people.
No, but it's given her time to learn and be better.
We'd like to hope so. Now, I think it's one of those things that maybe in that time she has, relearnt or rejiggered or something, and hopefully there's going to be less injuries. Because I remember who did. I think maybe wasn't it a video from What Culture to talk about her statistical rate of
and it was
people.
bad.
It was high.
But I think Becky wouldn't be where she was if Nia didn't break her face the way she did. You've got to think of things like
Benny
that.
Benny
mentions
mentions that in the chat as well, and that's totally cool. However, yes, it would happen to be a turning point in Becky's career, but it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, exactly right. That's true.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
That's very true. I mean, speaking of Becky Lynch.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
so we did get obviously being the Raw after Mania, to literally 24 hours after. They had post WrestleMania match interviews. So Becky was speaking backstage with Charlie Caruso, talking about her win, how she's still on top, how Shayna thought she had Becky's number, but that wasn't the case. But if she wants to go again, she knows where to find me. I'm a fighting champ. I didn't underestimate her, but she definitely underestimated me. And then after that, it cuts to Shayna Baszler. And she just keeps saying the thrill of the victory and the agony of defeat. And she repeats it about 4 or 5 times. And she goes, the thrill of victory. But Becky, you will taste the anger of my defeat. Oof. If that doesn't say we're going to see more Shayna and Becky, I don't know what does. And you know what? I'm all for it.
Yeah, so this once again alludes to what we discussed in our WrestleMania recap, also available in our podcast services, all that sort of crap. We're like, no, this isn't the end. Shayna is getting another go. And even as Benny in the chat also mentions that Nia versus Shayna, though, would also be cool.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep, I agree entirely.
Because that would be a match that I wouldn't know the outcome.
Yeah, exactly right.
I looked at that, I'm like, with Nia being just back, with Shayna being a force to be reckoned with, I'm like, I could not pick how that match
either
would
way.
go.
Yeah. And that's what's so exciting about having Nia and Jax back is you don't know which way it's going to go with her. And I love that. And I'm excited to see more. And I'm stoked to have Nia Jax back because I feel like we've been lacking that real bad guy character. And I think Nia is going to provide that for us, especially on Raw.
Yeah, but I think, couldn't Shayna fill that spot? She has always been a bit of a
to an extent. Let's SmackDown has Bayley and Sasha. I think you need more than one for sure. And I think Shayna's the only one on Raw. We need somebody else.
Which is very true because Charlotte Flair is an exceptional bad guy.
But she's the NXT Women's Champion. 2-time NXT Women's Champion.
Correct. So she did have a post-WrestleMania match interview, which I thought was very interesting because her makeup was 100% improved since the match. So I don't know how after the match it was, how post-match, but...
that whole, looking post-coital is just very attractive.
No, but she looked better. It sounds like someone's wiped it down, reapplied makeup. I'm like, okay, go and have an interview now.
Well, they probably did. Let's be honest. But yeah, she had a post-match interview as well after her match, basically saying like it's not the belt that makes the champion, it's the person wearing the belt that does.
Referring to her father, Ric Flair, as the suit doesn't make the man makes the suit.
Yeah, exactly right. Which beautiful. I love that nod to her dad. And I don't know if you're seeing this, but I look like I'm freezing.
You're hitching a little bit, but your audio is coming through crystal clear.
Beautiful. But yeah, so that was really interesting to see. Obviously, we're not going to be seeing Charlotte Flair unless we're watching NXT, which is going to be interesting. I think it's good, though. I think it's super refreshing because we've seen, Becky even said it, tethered together forever. Like, all we've seen is Charlotte and Becky and Charlotte and Becky and Charlotte and Becky, with Charlotte going to NXT with the NXT championship. I think this is going to be that much needed break from those two, for sure.
But I do think it also adds the example that we use with Brock Lesnar for the Rumble, adds a boss fight style to it.
Yes.
So by her going to NXT, whoever does happen to be the one to take her down on NXT, whether that be Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Dakota, any of the big women down there right now, whoever happens to take that down, that will be an impressive feat.
Yeah, it's like Mario defeating Bowser.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't just win the title; you beat Charlotte Flair. The woman who who's had the most most held titles by any woman, now by 3, I think, but being an 11-time champion. Like she does have a big history, and as Benny alludes to in the chat, like it's going to presumably bring a lot of eyes to NXT, or at least give the potential to bring a lot of eyes to NXT.
Definitely.
Yeah, which is certainly not a bad thing at all.
No. Not for NXT and not for Charlotte either.
Yeah, and one thing that we Betson, they call that the rub. Yeah. I'm aware of the term. I didn't want to say give Charlotte the rub. It sounds quite inappropriate and possible terms of service concerns. But there has been some news that's come out this week, Jem, before we dive into the show. So speaking of the NXT Women's Championship show, Rhea Ripley, the Australian wrestler, we've come to learn her working visa has expired, and therefore she has had to return to Australia because she's unable to work.
And with COVID going on at the moment, there's obviously going to be complications getting her working visa sorted. So it looks like she's home indefinitely.
Pretty much. Now, in terms of her thought process going into WrestleMania, having that looming behind you would be a massive concern. So it's kind of, it's impressive because she's fighting for 2 different reasons there. She's fighting to keep the championship and fighting to keep a job.
Keep a job,
quote unquote.
Yeah.
So it is a shame that she did lose it, but I think we'll see her back there in not too long. It just showed that we were very baffled by the result of Charlotte Flair. So
I think it'll be super refreshing that, again, having Rhea Ripley step away when she comes back. I think it's just going to make her even bigger and even badder.
Yeah, I can't wait for her to just kick the fucking door in and then
take that title back
wherever it be, whether it be WrestleMania, Raw, SmackDown, NXT.
Don't care. She's going to be in a title picture somewhere, and it's going to happen as soon as she comes back.
What is interesting, so as you mentioned, Charlotte Flair now being the 11-time champion, she's beaten, I think it was Trish Stratus was the last person to have the highest score.
Yes.
I think she's the second person to have a second or third to be a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. So it's Shayna and... There's another one. Well, because I'm getting confused with the men. Because in the men, there's only 3, and that's Gargano, Cole, and Ciampa. I think
so.
There's not a lot of 2-time champs down in NXT. So that's cool. So just to add herself into some more history books for some reason.
Exactly right, which is exciting. I love it.
Speaking of history books, something that has been interesting in terms of their history on the Raw brand is Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Both two different competitors that had shown a lot of promise and then were sort of around a lot, and they all sort of fucked off for a little bit. And now they're back together.
As a tag team. Weird, because they're like, new tag team on the block. And I was like, what? Like, suddenly Ricochet and Alexander are being announced as a tag team. I think the most controversial part of that whole situation was Ricochet was fully clean shaven, and it was
fucking weird.
He looks like a 12-year-old.
I wasn't cool with it.
No, I wasn't either. But as a tag team, these two have very similar styles, so they work phenomenally together. And they were matched against One Lorcan and Danny Burch, who are a tag team from NXT. I believe they performed on 205 Live as well.
That's correct, yeah.
They said, yeah. It was like, I didn't really care for this match because obviously it does feel very sort of slapped together. But at the same time, like, I'm obviously seeing a pattern here. We're seeing more NXT stars being showcased, which is super exciting because it's bringing light to that brand. But yeah, it was, they actually worked really good together, and there was some really good stuff going on there. And I think, like, even though it feels slapped together, I think it's needed right now for the Raw Tag Team division. I feel like there's really no one for the Street Profits to go up against except for AOP and like Seth Rollins and Murphy. So having the likes of these guys come in is super exciting. Oh, and obviously the OC,
but the other difference is that we have reason to believe that Carl Anderson,
they blew up in a barn fire.
Correct. So the issue here is it's another face team. That's the problem. Is
it though?
Yeah, it is.
This is the thing, because we don't know yet.
At no point have either of them demonstrated that they would be anything other than faces. Their responses today were incredibly face-related responses, right? So if we have a look, so in terms of face teams, like WWE has a history of booking heel versus face there, and it's very limited that we're going to see face on face. That sounds hot.
Except for the Usos versus the New Day.
Yeah, but the Usos kind of fit that weird anti-hero sort of line, right? They kind of fit in the middle, where New Day are facing through and through. So in terms of who will take on the Street Profits, I don't know. It's likely going to be someone from the Messiah, as the Monday Night Messiah, or his disciples. That's kind of where it's at. Like Viking Raiders, they're pretty face now as well. So adding an additional team of good guys is a questionable decision, I believe. And I could be wrong here because I am wrong all the time. I don't personally like the idea of a tag team of two people that are very similar.
Yeah, I feel like they do.
I prefer it when they complement each other in a different way.
Yeah.
So what one person's lacking, the other person is delivering. And that's where I think tag teams work at their best. Now, I could be completely wrong because even off the top of my head now, I can think of 1,000 other tag teams that don't fit exactly what I just said. Like almost fucking
the
all
Usos.
of them. Usos.
I guess but then you've got the New Day, which... The New Day do fit that thing. Miz and Morrison fit that because Miz is the high flyer. Morrison's the high flyer. Miz is the sort of groundwork heavy hitter.
Yeah, AOP, two buff dudes. The
two buff
Viking
dudes
Raiders, one buff dude who can do some flippies, and one guy who can punch hard. Like the Hardys, they're both similar-ish. Edge and Christian, very similar-ish. Dudley's just big dudes. You know what I mean? Like I do think I'm wrong in my observation. However, I feel that is where good tag teams happen, because
definitely, because you get a mix of styles and it's a more engaging match.
So it's one of those things, no matter what pairing you throw at them, they in theory would have a good go.
Yeah,
right,
exactly right.
That's how I see it. But as you mentioned,
like when Ricochet was paired with Aleister Black, two complementing styles,
a hard striker and a flippy doodah guy, like that's a pretty good combo.
Exactly. But then Aleister has the ability to do. But in that tag team, he focused more on that hard hitting.
Exactly.
Awesome.
He filled the void that Ricochet was missing. Now, Aleister Black, once again, after his match against Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, they've got it here. So he's back. He's here. And he's ready to I don't know what the future holds for Aleister Black, but the future for Bobby Lashley looks interesting.
Well, yeah, because again, another post WrestleMania match interview with Charlie Caruso. She says to Bobby Lashley, like, what happened out there? And he goes, I think I need to get myself a new manager or a new wife.
Oh.
And Lana walks up and like Charlie just stares at him and Lana walks up and she's like, hey guys, what are we doing? What are we talking about? And Bobby's like, nothing. And storms off like a child. And Lana's like, what did you do to my husband? And Charlie's like,
Look, I think it's a bit irrational of Bobby Lashley to
definitely heat of the moment
to go to that idea of like, well, she made a bad call and I lost, therefore we should get a divorce. But I
don't think it's leading there, but I think there's definitely trouble in that.
It is one of those situations of like they went into this relationship very quickly, very hastily. So any marriage that goes in at that speed cannot be good. And I think that we are seeing the situation of Bobby going, what have I done?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's interesting to see where this is going to go. And you know what? It's got me hooked in again.
I just want to know what the future holds for Black. That's what I want to see.
Well, tonight held for Aleister Black a match against Raw's newest acquisition, Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
So it turns out Apollo Crews.
Draft points that were left over that would have expired soon. So they used it. Because I know that's when there was a trade at some point earlier in the year, and that had leftover draft points or something.
Yeah. No, it was really interesting to see. Initially, I was like, oh, this is a bit smashed together. But actually watching these two together was phenomenal. Like, they're both super hard hitters, but they're both super agile. So it was a really even match. It was really back and forth, and it was quite like stalematy. Like when one got up, the next and it ended up being quite an engaging match. But Aleister did find a weakness in the left leg of Apollo Crews and absolutely exploited the shit out of it, which landed him getting a big old vicious black mass.
What I love about Black, he seems to be one of the only competitors where his finisher is just demolishing.
Yeah, it's absolutely vicious.
Like, it is one of those things. Like, the more we're like, he's done a ton of things, right? Like, and there's a ton of different people that their finishers have almost been obliterated at this point.
Yeah,
but Black still manages to come through that black mass. Like, if you get hit in the face, you're fucked, mate.
Yeah, that back roundhouse kick.
Yeah, it's a big heel in the side of the jaw. Rough.
Knock anybody for 10.
Yeah.
But no, it was good.
Speaking of finishes that may mean nothing, let's have a chat about Drew McIntyre. So he, as we know, is now the heavyweight championship, the WWE champion holder man. WWE champion. And the reason I mentioned the finisher thing is because in his match against Brock, it was just finish on finishes. It was F5s and Claymores and all this.
F5s and Claymores everywhere. Pretty sure there's a Glasgow kiss on mine.
That's right. But so what we saw here was a post-WrestleMania interview, very similar to that of Becky.
It was 20 minutes after the match, and Drew McIntyre was brought back out to the ring to have a chat to Sarah. And she's like, has it sunk in yet? And he's like, no. I've had 20 minutes. I haven't been able to speak to my family or my friends. I haven't spoken to anybody, but I did get my nifty little side plates changed. I thought that was great. It's like, doesn't it look nice? And I was like, hell yeah, it does. It just fits so beautifully. But yeah, as he's chatting away, all of a sudden, the Big Show's music hit.
Yeah.
And he comes storming down to the ring with a referee, like clutching a referee. Like dragging this poor guy to the ring.
See, I didn't realize that he was dragging him. I look at him like, does the Big Show need the ref to take him to the ring? Like, is he that?
Nah, he was dragging that poor guy. That guy's like, what are you doing? He's like, just go with it, basically. But yeah, he comes out and he's obviously like, look at you, man. Look at that belt. You are the WWE champion. You did it, bro. And Drew's like, yeah. Like, he just wasn't having any of it. He knew what was up. And the Big Show's like, you've got the whole locker room after you now. You've got a target on your back. Like, why don't you start defending right now, basically? Drew McIntyre's like, look, I know what you're doing. I'm not interested. I am not facing you right now. I've just gone through hell. I've only had 20 minutes to like stop and think. Like, it's not happening. Nothing you can say or do will rile me up enough. But Big Show kept pushing and taunting and pushing. And Drew McIntyre finally was like, I'm Scottish. I've got a short temper. Fuck it. So he gives the Big Show what he wants. And the Big Show puts on a big show.
He did.
And
he went really hard.
He went real hard. And he even said, he's like, what's the matter, Drew? This is my pace. I could do this all night. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, Big Show with the smack talk, and absolutely dominated the match. But a Claymore out of nowhere from Drew McIntyre just knocked Big Show for McIntyre. 20 minutes after capturing his title, successfully defended it.
Yeah. It'd be fucking weird if he lost the Big Show, eh?
Yeah. Do you think this could be going anywhere with the Big Show, though? No.
Nah. I'm surprised Big Show wasn't there just to be like, hi, I have a new show on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that. I want to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
It looks horrid.
It looks great.
No,
it looks like so bad it's going to be good, and I can't wait.
It looks like a really bad early 2000s sitcom. And
it looks like everybody loves Raymond with the Big Show.
Yeah, everybody loves a Big Show. Yeah, that's true.
Everybody loves a Big Show. But no, look, it definitely felt a bit together, but it was still a bit of fun.
Benny in the chat confirms it is bad. He did watch it.
Beautiful. I can't wait.
Still gonna watch it.
Hey, I've got all the time in the world. I might as well
that's right.
My own mind. But yeah, it definitely felt a bit slapped together, like, the match between Humberto Carrillo and Brendan Vink.
Oh, fuck. I forgot that match was even on the card. I was going to go next to the Kevin Owens and the Seth Rollins. But it was.
Happened. Now, people are probably thinking, the frick is a Brendan Vink. Most people will know him as Australian superstar Elliot Saxon.
Yeah.
So first of all, I was like, I know that face, but I don't know that name. And when I Googled, I was like, oi! I was so excited because it's an Aussie wrestling, first of all. Love that. Love seeing our Aussie fam out there doing their thing. And B, like, he put on a hell of a show against Humberto Carrillo. Like, big dude. Like, Humberto, like, was going to do something. And, like, Vink just pulled his foot up and kicked, like, Humberto in the face through the middle rope. He didn't have to jump or anything. He's just that tall. And I was like, damn. Like, look, it was a quick match and it was super slapped together, but it was still a bit of a fun. And obviously the novelty of Elliot Saxon being there was just like, oh, Aussies. But it was just, meh. Obviously Humberto Carrillo did get the win, but again, showcasing NXT stars it's awesome and I'm loving it. I think that was a really good choice to make. Because it's really, like I said, it's uniforming everything and it's like a P-12 college now. So NXT is like the little kids and they're mingling with the big kids, but they're all together now, which is cool.
I like your example of a high school. That was pretty good.
That's the best way to describe it.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that does bring us to the one thing we haven't spoken about yet, which is the Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins.
That's right. So the final bit to chat about the night was in a car park interview with Kevin Owens, talking about how he, since this whole feud with Seth Rollins and his crew
5 months ago,
5 months in November, talking about how it's kind of put him to his limit, pushed him to his breaking point, and it was
questioning
one of those
if it's
situations
worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Like whether it's still worth it, whether this match at WrestleMania would be worth it. But as he stood in that giant sign, like I have to jump down there. He even
said, he's like, I stood up there and when I jumped down and when I 1, 2, 3 after getting Seth in the ring for the stunner, he's like, I knew in that moment that it was all worth it.
Yep.
He's been trying for so long to shut up the Messiah, and he has. And if anybody else wants to come for him, all for it, because he's KO and he's going to fight, because this is the Kevin Owens show.
But he's not wrong. You know, he did it to shut up Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins made an appearance, didn't say a damn thing.
Didn't say a damn thing, not even taunting his opponent, just silent the entire time. Yeah. His opponent was another NXT star named Denzel Dujournet.
Sounds like mustard.
It made me think of Dijon's. Yeah, it made me think of Dijon's mustard. But again, awesome to see more NXT stars being showcased, especially against people like Seth Rollins. That was super cool as well. Obviously, it was a quick match. Seth was in a bad mood, so he just came in, cleaned house, and left. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Seth goes from this, because obviously he's just completely shut down at this point. He's not. He wouldn't even look up. Like, he just wasn't. He wasn't the Messiah. He was a dog with its tail between its legs.
Do you think this could lead to the end of the Monday Night Messiah, or it's just one of those, what was it called, like a crisis of faith?
I think it may be a crisis of faith. I feel like there's going to be some sort of like revelation with the disciples. I feel like, Murphy's going to come along and be like, pull your head in, like, you're the leader, we're the followers, like, do your job. And he'll be like, oh, maybe I am. I feel like that's where that could go, but it's really hard to say at this point.
But maybe it becomes like some sort of mild martyr, I guess. And maybe that will allow him to recruit more.
Yeah, he can play the whole I'm like you card.
Yeah. I've been broken, I've been downtrodden, yet I picked myself up because I am the Messiah, blah, 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 blah. Maybe that's where we're
going to have a broken and woken Seth Rollins.
Oh, that'd be cool. Very cool.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And they did also
I feel like there's a void there that has been lost with Matt Hardy leaving the WWE.
But then again, he's been around for a while and didn't do a whole bunch. So like they really didn't allow him to spread his wings creatively. Yeah. So they have made the right decision. Yeah. But that is the end of Raw. Jem,
it is.
How do you think this WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania went down?
Look, it wasn't horrible, but it was that. Awesome to see Nia Jax back in the showcasing of NXT superstars, and there were some good matches in there. Like that Aleister Black and Apollo Crews match was great. And I think having the interview recaps from the night prior was awesome too. But overall, I'd probably call it like straight down the middle, and I'd give it a single cut.
I think you're being a little bit generous there. I believe it's a bar. In terms of what the Raw after WrestleMania should be the biggest Raw possible for the year. Now I understand that. We understand that under the current circumstance, it makes it very difficult for them to deliver that bigger Raw. But that, if anything, that makes me think, well, why did they not just WrestleMania have a hiatus, leave it at that? And like that, it's allegedly that could still be coming. So as of next week, this may be it. They'll probably do post-Mania Raw, post-Mania SmackDown, and they may call it quits for a little while.
Yeah.
Because it cannot keep... It's this weird line of it cannot keep going like this.
Yeah, like, for instance, that Big Show and Drew McIntyre, that should have been on Raw after WrestleMania. That should have been a Raw thing. Like, that's where that's supposed to happen, but it didn't. So it's... Yeah, it's a really tricky one. I think they have sort of creatively reached a limit where they just can't do anymore. And I definitely think a hiatus is on the way sooner rather than later. Because it's a well-earned break for the superstars. I think
one of the biggest, I want to say myths, I want to say the biggest things that we hear about WWE is they work best when they get pushed into a corner.
Yeah.
I disagree. There have been times where that has been the case, but I don't think that is certainly it right now. There's a situation of safety. Like, they only have so many performers that can get involved, and they cannot deliver a consistently entertaining 3 hours of television. The ratings alone right now are abhorrent for what WWE can do. Raw was the last thing they had pre-tape before Florida. Yep, because SmackDown right now hasn't been pre-recorded. It's apparently happening in a secret location, so they're probably just bouncing around states that don't have lockout laws, which is concerning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is a tough call, and I understand they want to keep momentum going, but no one's going to give a fuck about Money in the Bank because the shows building up to it are going to be subpar. And therefore the pay-per-view will be subpar. I think if they continue the way they are, the damage, the public damage, the visual damage will almost be irreparable. I think it'll be very tough for them to recover from this. Betty in the chat's now referring to AW Dynamite. Now they've recorded a bunch too, which is fantastic. However, it is one of those things that will come a time where they will fill the void, right? They have a much smaller talent pool of superstars or wrestlers over there, so they can probably film a lot more easily. So that's going to be one of the advantages of being a smaller promotion.
Yeah, but less risk of spread and things like that because they are. Yeah.
But there is going to have to come a time where, for safety, they just pull the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do believe that should happen rather than later, because if they, it's a tough line. I know it's a money business thing, but it's safety.
Exactly right, and safety's first.
Yeah. Granted, they're working in like closed sets and all that sort of stuff, so it's as safe as it can be. There's no public.
But still, you've still got a number of people there at any given time, and you don't know where they've been or what they've done. So yeah, unless you've got them on very strict lockdown, like it's not gonna. Yeah,
no, it's a bit messed up. Yeah. But anyways, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for joining me as always, Jem.
Pleasure.
Let's get into the part where we give you the spiel before we get out of here. This was our Raw in review. It happens every Thursday morning on your podcast services. That's 8 a.m., 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist. Follow us on Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. And I have updated the Discord link.
Yay!
But if you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can jump into the chat just like Max did, just like Benny did, just like Dad Bod Plays, just like Buddy did. A ton of people have rocked up to chat with us today about wrestling, and it's much appreciated. And again, a big shout out to Be Possessed, so that's Max and Benny, for their subs. One thing we'd like you to do is you could share the conversation, tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling pod, and maybe even send them over to check out our other show for the players, the PopC PlayStation pod, if we get some gaming news up in you. If you want to support us financially, head over to, have I mentioned Twitch? I did mention Twitch. Yeah. Yes. If you want to support us financially, head to patreon.com/thepopculturist, where you can help fund the show. Buy Jem microphones, buy Jem cameras and shit. Other things that make it a little bit easier for us to continue to do this show. We can also buy merchandise at popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Times are tough, and every little bit does help us. We are a very small business, and we are 100% not essential. But conveniently, we run out of the back room in my house, or Jem's bedroom, or
welcome to my bedroom,
random rooms. But until next week, if there is a SmackDown, I'm Ryan Betson,
and I'm Jem,
and we'll see you then.
Bye.
The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.